Okay, here's our video on multiplication and division expressions. So when we see multiplication, we can see the words times, of is very important, you're going to see that a lot, double, triple. See, when you double means times 2, right? So if I say double 5, it's see 5 times 2. That's when you see a 2, it's double. So if you saw it triple, what would you use for triple? You would use a 3. So we'll come back to that. So if I write 5 times 2, right, I'm using this dot for multiplication, that's an expression, multiplication expression, and in English it's just 5 times 2. Okay, and also in multiplication we can see the product. The product is the answer to multiplication. So you can say the product of 3 and 2. If you see that expression, and this is the English expression, the product of 3 and 2, that's the product of 3 and 2. 3 times 2. Right? And remember, in expressions we don't have equal signs, we're just expressing it. So the product of 3 and 2 is 3 times 2. That's in math, and this is in English. Okay, so let's say we use the word of. So we can use fractions. Let's say 1/4 of 5. Right? 1/4 of 5, right, is, in English we say 1/4 of 5, or 1/4 times 5. Anytime you see the of, it's times. So we're saying 1/4 times 5, and we always put a whole number over 1. 1/4 times 5, and we can say, how would you do 1/5 of 9? How would you do 1/5 of 9? 1/5 of 9. Again, what does of mean? Multiplication. So it's 1/5 times 9 over 1, right? We put the whole number over 1. And remember also in multiplication, it's commutative. You can flip this around. So 1/5 times 9 over 1, and actually don't flip it, that's only in division. What I mean, you can do this. You can do 1/5 times 9 over 1 could also be 9 over 1 times 1/5. So in multiplication, because it's commutative, you can switch the numbers around. Gina had 1/5 of the 12 toys. How would we write an expression for that? 1/5 of the 12 toys. Okay, well, she had 1/5 times 12. Right? And we're just writing an expression, we're not solving it. In expressions, we don't solve, we just express. Now, we could solve expressions when we evaluate them, but that's the next topic. So right now, if you saw this, this is the expression. Remember, the of is multiplication. Let's try division. In division, you're going to see the words divided by, divided, or the quotient. The quotient's the answer to division. If I had 12 divided by 3, we can say the quotient of 12 and 3. Also in division, you can write a fraction. This says 12 divided by 3. And remember, with division, the top number is always in the box. Remember that. So this would also be 12 divided by 3. Top number is in the box. Right? The first number is in the box. So the quotient of 12 and 3. And in an English expression, we can say 3 divided by, well, 12 divided by 3. Right? So it's 12 divided by 3. Or, again, like a fraction, 12 divided by 3. How would you do this one? Okay? So, we just want to write an expression. This is in English. How would we write it in math? 5 divided by 2. You can write it that way, like a fraction. Or you can say 5 divided by 2. Right? You can also put the 5 in the box. Remember, the first number is always in the box, or the top number. So it could also be written like this. So you have 3 different ways in math to write an English expression. Now what if you had this word problem? Let's say there were 15 guests. Right? You had 15 guests and you had 5 tables. And you have an equal number of seats. So the question would be, how many seats are needed so that the same number of people sit at each table? So you want each table to have the same number of guests. Now, we're not looking for the answer here. We just want to write an expression. How would we write an expression for that? 15 guests, 5 tables. Right? Well, to find out the number of seats, we're just doing 15 divided by 5. Right? Now, if we evaluate this, we know that each table needs 3 seats. But we're not evaluating that right now. An evaluation means solving it. We're not doing that right now. We're just expressing. So this is the expression. And again, with division, you can also do that, right? Like a fraction. Or, do you know another way? We can do it like that also, right? And the answer to division again is the quotient. Great job.